Welcome. This is the APH Green Room meetup on what is today, February 6th, 2014. And the idea of the Green Room is like in a television studio, in a talk show, the place where the entertainers wait until it's their turn to go on stage and talk to, Jimmy Kimmel or whoever. The Green Room is where APH volunteers wait until there's an activity that they'd like to get involved in. And I thought it would be nice for us to have an opportunity to just sort of get to know each other and what our strengths and interests are, and an opportunity for me to let you know a little bit about how the APH board works, just in terms of how different board members are responsible or are the point of contact for different projects and initiatives that we try to move forward with our volunteers. So let's begin that discussion. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The vision and the mission are on the website, and you're probably already familiar with them, but just to let you know, we've just this summer completed a round of strategic planning to guide the board in 2014, and this is the latest, greatest version of the vision statement and the mission statement that we've come up with. I believe you're capable of reading, so I won't read them aloud to you. But I find myself in many of my communications with the public about APH, or just even writing documents or messages going to various people, that I keep coming back to the page on the website where this is, and snipping out this phrase about, we believe that the story of every person, family, community, and organization is worthy of being preserved and shared. That is so core to what we do. That's what we hold in our vision as we decide what's worth doing and in what priority. And our mission as an association is to support our members in acting on that belief that everyone's story is worth preserving and sharing. Next slide, please. I need to give you a signal or something with it. People don't know, unless you've been considering board service and have talked with our nominations director, that there's an organization to how the board works that keeps things, keeps the wheels turning, you might say. Where the executive committee is at the center of things, with the president, vice president, secretary, and then the executive director and treasurer. And those first three are each liaisons to subgroups of other board members. We basically have this education circle you see at the top of the screen, where the director roles that have to do with member education reside. We have a marketing circle where the public-facing marketing, PR, communications, the website stuff is concerned. And then we have an administrative circle that's where our nominations, our membership directory, and the documents, which is us trying to have an institutional memory, resides. And some of these positions involve more volunteers and committees or ad hoc groups that come together in a task force kind of way to drive initiatives forward, and that's what we'll talk about tonight. Next slide. Everything we do is held up to this question: what to do first, in what priority? And the strategic question is, what, if we do it thoroughly and well, makes everything else come more easily? So in our strategic planning, we talked about that as the board reviewed the strategic plan and basically approved and adapted it from what was brought to them by the task force that worked on it. It was viewed through this lens: what if we do it well, thoroughly, it makes everything else come more easily. So what we're looking for volunteers to do is take on things that, if we accomplish them, help leverage APH's growth, so that we continue to thrive and grow and be a stronger organization. There are three foundations to our strategic plan. Next slide. And each of these basically relates to one of those circles. The foundation one is the administrative one: continue to improve APH's ability to thrive with better communications, operations, financial stability. The second one is about the marketing circle: energetically market the concept of personal history to the general public and establish us as the premier professional organization. We'd hate to see some other organizations claim that when we've spent 20 years trying to gain public awareness of what we do and the importance of doing it. And the third foundation, and is the really, I think, relates to the education circle, and that education is the most important member service that we provide. It's the way we deliver value to our members by giving them the unique and specialized training you need to be a successful personal historian. Next slide. So currently we have projects going in these 5 areas that have opportunities for volunteers to get involved in that. And I'm just going to, we'll spend, the next 5 slides talking a little bit more in detail about each of these. And I can tell you who to talk to about each of them. Our education director is Stephanie Nichols. So if any of the things you see here interest you, she'd be the person to get up with. Her contact information is on the website, as is all of our board members. We're very focused and making a lot of active progress right now on curriculum development. And that bridges both our in-person, when we're face-to-face at the conference, and the online education that we've begun offering since we've learned to use these tools like WebEx that allow us to have virtual meetings. So that's been, in 2013, we made tremendous progress, launched our online education program, and now we're engaged in some really interesting and substantive work on what are the core components a personal historian should be competent in, the core competencies, like understanding the ethics of dealing with vulnerable populations, because we deal with the elderly, the legal aspects like copyright law. There's the interviewing and communication skills you need to be able to do something that's so intensely personal with other people. Other education things include a new initiative to have special interest groups. This is arising in response to members' interest in doing that. That's where people who share an interest, like photographers, or the people who do photo preservation and repair, retouching, want to talk to each other and exchange tips, information. That's another area that's just getting off the ground. Mary Beth Lagerboard, our at-large director, is involved in that, and would love to hear from volunteers interested in that. Sort of circling back to the curriculum development, suggesting instructors or course ideas, or reviewing the instructor and course ideas that come forward, is something where we'd always welcome help. And the conference visioning is a big one, because the conference is really the most appreciated member benefit that we do, and the biggest and the most expensive, the most complex initiative APH puts on every year. And you always have to be thinking a couple of years out, 3, 4 even, where is the conference going next? What can we do to make it deliver more value? What can we do to keep people interested in coming back every year, offering something that our more, as we call them, veteran members or more long-term members would be interested in. It's easy to put out curriculum that is, with personal history 101, but figuring out what 201 and 301, and advanced personal history 701, what would that be? So that's where we could use the more people working with the conference vision. And in fact, right now we are lacking a conference director on the slate. That we did not find a volunteer for 2014 for that. So that's an area where volunteers are very welcome. Not necessarily to step right into a director role, that might sound a little daunting, but to work with the vision so that a director stepping into that role would know what they're expected, what's wanted in that position, and who is the committee that might help them with it. So that's what's going on in education. Next slide, please. In the marketing area, we need volunteers everywhere. We need every single APH member, really, to be a volunteer building relationships with local press in your community, because there simply isn't a way to do national or international PR that's effective. We can't afford the kind of PR newswire service that major corporations use for PR. And everything is local anyway. When you really get down to it, people are interested in local news. So each of our APH members in our communities needs to have a local press list, relationships with local media, and be able to talk about what personal history is and what personal historians do. So we're looking for people who could be active at that level. We do have a database of potential sister organizations, as we call them, which are genealogists, historical societies, photo organizers, all kinds of people who do things related to preserving memories and memorabilia, who would be interested in knowing about what we're doing. And we have a database on that, but databases need maintenance. They need people to check and see that contacts are current, phone numbers, email addresses haven't changed. That's one where somebody who likes detail would be a welcome volunteer. Our website watchdogs are people who just visit the APH website on a regular basis, and if they spot a broken link, they report it to our webmaster. If they see something that's obsolete, maybe a page that references a past year instead of a current year, the website watchdogs help us keep the content fresh and keep the technical aspects of the website functioning, not through doing any actual programming, but just if they come across errors, reporting them. So that's a simple little low impact, put in an hour here and there kind of job. Next slide.
Oh, didn't go. There we go.
There we go. Still in the marketing area, but moving over to communications more, is our publications. We have our public-facing blog, which we like to have guests, a number of APH members have written blog posts for us. They're short, under 800 words usually. They're facing the public, so the idea is to talk about what we do in a way that might make people interested in either hiring a personal historian or becoming a personal historian. It just has to do with, sort of the tools and techniques and the interesting stories that arise from working with our clients. The Perstorian is our e-newsletter that goes to members on the first of the month, and that's got, there's always a profile of a member, there's upcoming events, sometimes other news of interest, and we can use volunteers who might want to write a profile, might want to interview another APH member and do that. And people write articles for Perspectives, which is our journal, which comes out 3 times a year, and it's more of a magazine-style publication. And there we like longer articles, more in-depth profiles of people's work, investigation into issues that arise in what we do, maybe something about copyright or changing technology, all kinds of things. And Fran Morley is our content editor. That's one of our independent contractor positions. And she does a great job of managing the blog and Perspectives. And she'd be the person to pitch ideas to if you were interested in writing or you had done something, maybe published something on your own blog that you think might work well for the APH blog. Fran would be the person you contact about that. The next point there is about videos. We'd love to have our videographers doing more. You can have video blog posts. We can add videos to our website. We have our social media. Our LinkedIn group is a very active one. Those are places where videos would be great. We did a little bit at the 2012 conference, videotaping board members talking about why they joined APH, why they like board service. And
we had a few member in the street interviews, too, around the conference halls. Yeah.
Right. And we'd love to have more volunteers who are able to bring video equipment to the conference, or we're just interested in editing some of the video that we've already captured. Of course, there are other ways. You can do a video interview over Skype, that kind of thing. But that's one where we could use use new people stepping forward, interested in doing pieces of that. And then the final point here is, just as we need videographers, we need art directors, graphic designers, and those tend to be for ad hoc projects. We need a flyer for advanced program for the conference or something like that, or the event planning area that I'll talk about next. Well, like when we did the Yes, It's Time brochure, we can use people who art direct or do graphic design for our occasional projects. So that doesn't mean signing up for an ongoing year in, year out position, just stepping forward to do something. Okay, next slide. This is an area where I've been active and interested, the event planning. We have events, and we're burgeoning with events in 2014 because of our strategic foundation of energetically marketing personal history this year. So we're encouraging regional and chapter activity wherever you are. Because we can use WebEx, we don't have to be living within a easy drive of each other. We can have online meetings, and more of our regions are doing that. The Tennessee chapter, the Texas chapter. Places that are fairly spread out find it much easier to get organized now that we have the technology. So we're seeing more activity in that area. And again, that would be a great sort of one-off volunteer thing to do, volunteer to organize a chapter meeting or a regional meeting wherever you live. And if it's either virtually or face-to-face. There's the 2014 conference coming up in St. Louis. We can use volunteers, and you don't have to be in St. Louis to be involved in the conference. There are specific roles, and because we have a well-functioning, we have an event planner, the conference has well-defined roles that if you want to do, you say you have 2 hours, we'll find you a 2-hour task. And then maybe you're coming to the conference, maybe you'd like to volunteer to work at a registration desk or help out in the APH store or be an introducer of speakers or keynotes or workshop presenters. All kinds of fun ways to get involved in the conference through volunteering. And then new this year are these 2 special event projects. But I'm calling the Grand Challenge during May, which is Personal History Awareness Month. We're encouraging our members wherever you are to put on some kind of public-facing event during May. So large or small, just host a coffee for 5 or 6 people, host a show and tell that's open to the public, brings in 20 to 50 people, put on a conference for 200 like they did in Salt Lake City a few years back, all kinds of options there. We are putting together kits called for the show and tell event idea. You got your February Perstorian. You could read about that. You'll be hearing more about that on the listserv and other communication channels too. The show and tell is just an easy format for anybody to host an event where people come, bring something, talk about it. It raises awareness of how much we enjoy our memorabilia and our memories about them. But the marketing committee is active right now putting together elements of that, a poster, a flyer, press release, that kind of thing. That's an area where volunteers are welcome. And next fall, we're going to do an event that's open to the public while we're in St. Louis that'll be tied to Family History Month. And that's another area where volunteers would be welcome because, there'll be roles large and small, greeting the public as they arrive, and the logistical things, working on advanced publicity or flyer, poster about that, place for graphic design skills. So that's what's going on in the event planning area. And I think I have one more to talk about, which is member service. And here we've been working on developing a professional recognition program. Ideas have been put forward and discussed at the board level, and it's kind of a matter of, yes, that would be a good thing to do. That would be a strategic thing that if we do it well, would help us move forward towards a more rigorous certification program, so it's a good priority for us. The idea that we'd like to see explored further, let me see if I can put this succinctly, is simply a recognition of time spent committed to in your own professional development. So a sort of, suppose you came to a conference and each workshop you attended, you got a sort of passport thing stamped, and at the end of the conference we could see that you had indeed sat in 5 90-minute workshops. maybe that gets you to the bronze level. And if you also participated in a few online webinars and took a couple more courses, that might get you to the silver level. And just something that maybe there'd be a little badge that would show on your member profile that you indeed had each year invested, so many hours in your own professional development to keep your skills at the cutting edge. We think that would be a good thing, but there are all kinds of details to be worked out there. How many hours equals a level, what kind of curriculum is specified? Is the curriculum specified? If that's an area where, if you're a person who likes to get in and brainstorm and think through ideas and propose and debate the merits of proposals, that would be a great place to get involved and really have an impact on this organization, I think. Smaller role, help develop a member survey. We haven't done a member survey since 2005. We're overdue to take a snapshot of who we are, get our pulse as an organization. How has our membership changed, our interests, our needs from the organization? We'd love to have somebody who had a little experience in a past life with survey techniques, research, help us design a survey that gets at good questions, good answers, and can be tabulated, which takes a little experience to design something like that. We'd love to find somebody who could do that. The nominations committee is always welcoming people who'd like to suggest names for board service, follow up with people who've been suggested. Just call and have a phone call, find out what a person's area of interest is. That one can be a lot of fun if you're a people person, or if you've been in APH for a few years and started to see who you think has talent for leadership. We have our 20th anniversary celebration coming up in 2015, and we'd really like to see some people getting going on planning for how we might commemorate that event. Perhaps there should be some special party-like anniversary events at the 2015 conference. Maybe there should be some kind of public, almost community service kind of thing, scholarship programs. Some ideas have been put forward, but we don't really have someone who's taken ownership of convening and carrying forward discussion about what to do during our 20th anniversary year. So again, if you are a person who has a bit of leadership talent and an interest in trying your hand at that in APH, that would be one with a specific horizon. And, you could volunteer and you'd know it would all be over in 2016. So, and of course, we can always use regional coordinators. There are areas where we don't have a current regional coordinator and would like to fill that with someone who, again, take a role of sort of convening and getting others involved in planning events, whether online or in person. And I guess sort of in conjunction with the nominations committee, there's board members. Board service is open to all. We like to have a board that is a balance of people with some history with APH, some experience of the organization, and occasionally some fresh people who, if they bring specific expertise that we need on the board, it's not unheard of for someone who's only been a member for a year or so to step into a board role. So we recognize most of us come from professionalism in other fields, other endeavors that bring a host of skills to the APH board and organization. So if being involved in shaping the future of a growing trade association is of interest to you, contact our nominations director, put your name in the hat for board service. And that is pretty much the conclusion of my prepared remarks for this. So if we had more people attending, we would open this up for discussion and getting to know each other at this point. But I can only invite you, if you're listening to this recording, to contact me, and we'll have other Green Room meetups. I think one of the real benefits and joys of volunteering is the wonderful experience we have, the opportunity to get to know and work with each other and to find out about our varied experience and the backgrounds that we bring to our work in personal history and the different experiences we're having as we pursue our personal history careers, because we all go at it in so many different and interesting ways. And you just can't get to know as much as quickly or as deeply as we do when we volunteer. There's no other way to learn as much about how other people do personal history and how that's working out for them. What are successful ideas and techniques? It's the working together on committees where you get to know each other that you really get at the richness of what this work is that we do.
Amen. I can only add, amen. It's really true.
So let's turn off the recording there just to keep this as a nice, concise sales pitch here.
All right.
And then
Will do. The
stick
recording.